When I was in the seventh grade, I was chosen to be the class president. I don't actually remember much about what I did to contribute to the class. However, they did have a party at the end of the year and there was a cake. And I remember I got to cut the cake. And it was quite the moment for me. I remember feeling very proud. There's a photo of me in my blue, teal, and white polka dot dress. It was like a top and bottom set. And I had my hand behind my back and the knife, just like you're cutting a wedding cake, in my hand. I think it had a ribbon around it. And I was cutting the cake. And the picture, I remember feeling so proud in that moment. I thought, this is what it's all about. And why did I feel that way? When I look back, I remember just feeling a sense of pride, maybe even the beginning of a calling too, which is weird. I think we all have those moments in our life where it really stands out as being a pivotal moment where it sort of decides the trajectory of our life. And you can either go down that path or you don't. And for me, that was like the start of me thinking that I wanted to be in some sort of leadership position. Fast forward, I was in the ninth grade. I'm saying ninth grade and seventh grade, like I live in the States. We say grade nine, but so if you're Canadian, sorry. We did live in the States for a short period of time, and I remember getting teased about that. Okay, grade nine, whatever it is. I had a teacher, Sheeta Peterson, and it was in John Peterson Junior High School. And she was our drama teacher. And the way that woman believed in me, I again fully remember being called on to be the example to show people how to do a specific acting technique. She would constantly turn to me to be the example and use me as her little pet project. But the feeling that I got from being chosen, again, I remember that feeling so strongly, like I was meant to do something better, something bigger, something greater. And it's a funny thing because it's a quiet little calling initially and a quiet little voice inside that says that you were meant for something more. And I think we all have that, and it may not be in the same area, but I definitely believe that everyone was put on the earth with something special about them that no one else quite has. And I think it's our job as humans to really discover what that is. And fast forward, and I go to college and I end up being an RA, which felt like a little bit of a leadership role. In my fourth year there, I was again chosen as the student council president. And there I had a few more obligations and, I took my role a little bit more seriously than I did in grade seven, but many opportunities to speak to other students, speak in front of a crowd, to lead, to guide, to mentor. And I could feel myself coming into my own and becoming someone that I really wanted to be. So that was really exciting for me. When I got married, part of my heart, I think, really wanted to stay home with kids when we had them. And it was hard. I don't know if you face this, but I was very, very torn. I really wanted a career because I felt like, again, this pull that I was going to be in leadership, that I was going to be speaking to other women or people or helping or guiding or something like that. I couldn't quite pinpoint it, but I knew that I was called to do something like that. And then when I had my children, I felt like no one else could take care of them like I could. And so I chose to stay home and sort of forego the career path for the time being. And I felt a lot of angst about that. Yeah, I guess was it angst? It was definitely an unsettling time in my life and yet fully rewarding. Like I knew I wanted to stay home with them and I was blessed and pleased that I did that. But there was this other side of me that always felt like it was still not fulfilled. And so I remember being pregnant with our third Piper, and it was a whoopsie diddly. Like it shouldn't have happened. We know how not to get pregnant, but it happened 2 weeks before Quentin's vasectomy, and it was not planned and not intended. And then it just crushed me for that moment because I thought I was finally almost going to be able to, have the kids in school and I could go set off on my career and my adventure and finally become what I'd always wanted to become. And then it was like all dreams were crushed, which is silly because you can still have your dreams and children. You just have to figure out a way to have that. But at the time, I just felt very heartbroken and then felt very guilty about that because you got pregnant, you're having a child, and lots of people dream for that, and you get to have this, and it's wonderful. During the pregnancy, though, you have lots of doctor's appointments and scans and this and that. And at one of the appointments, we found some lumps in my breast, and my doctor wanted to biopsy them. And so I went for the scans and had that done. And during the time, so in Canada here, you don't find out right away if it's cancerous. You have to wait 6 weeks. And so during the time of waiting, I thought to myself, this really sucks. Like, what if I just missed out on my whole life and what I wanted to do? What if I just gave it all up because I stayed home and I didn't pursue, a career and what my calling was? And this really sucks. And I felt so ripped off at life and angry and sad and scared and not knowing what the results were going to be. But the results came, and I had said to myself, if this is nothing, you've got to shit or get off the pot, Trace, because your life could pass you by if you're not careful. And the results came, and it was just a benign mass. And I was a different person that day. I tell you, it was like a light switched on, and I said to myself, this is your new lease at life. Not that my life was even hanging in the balance, but mentally I thought it was. And so I just said to myself, this is your moment. And whatever it takes, you have to pursue who you were meant to be. And so the next day, I called one of my friends and I said, would you like to help me plan this workshop? And I hired a bunch of professionals to come and speak at the workshop. And I hired myself and made myself the lead speaker and put on an amazing workshop for a bunch of women in my hometown then of Vernon. That was the start of, again, that fire being lit underneath me and igniting, and me saying, it is time to live your life right now. The time to fix the roof is when the sun is shining, says JFK. And we talk about that in our fitness and nutrition. In your life too, the time is now, right? The time to live your life is when the sun is shining. Yeah, that really led me on this journey of discovering who I was meant to be. And slowly, I started to create this business where I help people look through the lens of psychology at their fitness, wellness, and nutrition, and really get to the sort of underpinnings of what is holding us back in fitness or in nutrition or in wellness. That's when I created Move Daily Fitness. I had been a trainer for many, many years, and one of my friends who is an entrepreneur had said to me, Trace, you're 1-to-1 right now being a trainer. You need to find a way to be 1 to thousands. And I thought, yep, I sure do. So what's that going to look like? And I started the YouTube channel, and very slowly started a Facebook group, YouTube channel, wrote a few programs, tried to sell those online, and all along the way feeling very like I was a late starter. I was in my 40s when I started to think like this. Thought, oh, I wish so much I had time. I wish I had started this in my 20s. I wish I had started this in my 30s. But at mid 40s, almost late 40s, I thought, well, there's no time like the present. Kids are grown. They don't need me. Well, they always still need you, but basically, they don't need you anymore. And now is your time to make this life that you've always wanted. So I think what it really takes to build something meaningful in middle life is to first know where you're headed, right? What's the end goal? What dream do you have? What lights you up? I went to therapy once, and I think this was shortly after the pandemic. I had been speaking a lot, doing some workshops, traveling for speaking with Kelowna Tourism, and really enjoying that. It felt like it was lighting up my soul. And I was sitting there with my counselor, and he said, when is the last time that you truly felt alive? And, with tears in my eyes, I said, yeah, when I was speaking, I was on stage, I had this platform of, people in front of me, and I was teaching them how to be better versions of themselves. And he said, whatever that is, you need to do more of that. And I'm like, okay, how do I do it? It's the pandemic. You're not even allowed to touch anyone or be close to anyone. And so that's when the online world really began to open up. And it did for a lot of us. It was a blessing in disguise for a lot of people, and especially the online fitness community, because everyone was stuck in their homes. Everyone wanted to feel something. And just having access to free workouts was a great way to move your body, to feel connected, maybe to someone virtually. Of course, we started our membership and started Facebook communities, and that was super helpful for people as well. But for me, I started to do more of what I really liked to do, which was teaching, training, leading, speaking, coaching. And so then I decided to make a business of that. But it started very slowly, and I really felt like quitting a lot. There are days when you are very motivated, and I get this all of the time too. Motivated to work out, motivated to eat healthy, motivated to work on your wellness, right? The sun is shining, everything is good. But there seems to be a lot of seasons that ebb and flow into our lives where it doesn't feel like that. And so it would be very easy to quit. And I think for me, having that very, very profound reason that started back in that seventh grade, back in grade 7 for me, and that carried on as a theme throughout my life as I began to mature as a woman, I really held on to that. It became like my path forward. It was the road that I was on, and I knew and I know, like, it's like I'm not at the end of the road yet. I still see the end line way out in front of me. Like, I have so much more to accomplish and so much more that I want to do and give back to the world and to women specifically. But along the way, there are so many obstacles, and I have found that with myself. I found there was some health obstacles. This past year, I had a crazy health scare, which was like out of left field, that really kind of terrified me. It was right around Christmas time. And I, all of a sudden, one night in the middle of the night, 2 in the morning, woke up with a racing heart. And, I mean, I've got a blood pressure machine, I've got my watch, I know how to count on my carotid artery, my heart, my pulse. So I checked all of that, and everything was super high. My heart rate was like 120 out of a dead sleep, and I didn't have a bad dream or anything. My blood pressure was way up there. I think it was like 150 over 100. So what's normal for me is way lower than that. So I knew something was wrong. And of course, I just went to the ER right away and like test all the things. And that night, I, went through the middle of the night at the ER. They tested lots of things and couldn't find anything. So sent me home, told me to monitor it. Of course, that's what they say. And then 2 days later, it happened again. Same thing, just skyrocket, heart rate, blood pressure through the roof. Well, through my roof. It just freaked me right out. So back to the ER again in the middle of the night. I'm like, well, run these tests, do this one, that one, this one. Still no answers and still nothing wrong with me. And so, a few days later, I went to my doctor and I just said, there's got to be something that's triggering this. Like, I don't know what it is. And he said, well, let's put you on some beta blockers because that's going to calm you down a little bit. But to me, that felt like a little bit of a band-aid. Like, we didn't really know what the issue was, what the cause was. We were just bringing the heart rate and the blood pressure down, but I was still experiencing those things. It's just that I couldn't feel those things any longer. So I didn't really love that as a solution, but my doctor ordered a bunch more tests. I had the Holter monitor. We had a echocardiogram. So everything that you can imagine. And still nothing was wrong. It was like, oh, anyway, it was a stressful time for me. But after about 6 weeks, all of a sudden, I started to titrate myself down all off of the beta blockers because I didn't feel like I needed them. And once I was off completely, my body felt like it was back to normal. So I still don't know what that was. And I pray that it doesn't come back. But in the moment of having that, you really get some clarity, don't you? You're like, goodness gracious, this could all be over tomorrow. And I don't want that. I want to be doing what I was called to do. I want to be living the life that I was meant to live. For me, it really is about helping other people move daily in their fitness, wellness, and nutrition. This is why we started this podcast, because I don't know everything. I wanted to invite experts on that could help us learn in specific regions of fitness, wellness, and nutrition, and help us grow in our knowledge so that we can all better ourselves. I think over the past 4 to 5 years, I have learned so much about what it means to optimize my health. It's been confusing along the way. I know right now in the social media space, it sounds like a lot of noise and a lot to pay attention to. But at the end of the day, like if you just kind of clear away all of the noise, really, truly, it's the dripping water on the stone that hollows it out, not through force, but through persistence. It's about staying in the pocket. And if you have a profound reason for doing what you're doing, that's going to help when motivation wanes. And it does. It waxes and wanes, and it's there. And often, and maybe more often than not, it's not there. And so relying on structure and relying on what you're doing all of this for is really, really important. I've asked that of our members multiple times, like, why are you doing this in the first place? What's your profound reason for moving daily? Because when you know that and when you feel that deeply, you get up and you do the thing that even if you don't feel like doing, right? I do the workouts, I do the programs, I take care of myself, I get to bed early, I get up early, I hydrate myself, I choose nutritious foods most of the time because of that end goal for me of who I want to become and what I want my life to have looked like. I guess it's legacy. It's like, who do you want to be? What do you want to be known for? What will people say when they look back and they say, oh, remember Tracy Steen? Oh, yeah, she was the one who helped us move daily. I think that's what I'd want. So, as I close this 50th episode of the podcast, what have I learned this year? Well, I have learned that there's a lot more to learn. I have learned that I need to take the posture of a learner continuously and to default to people who are experts in their field. I say this to my kids lots. You can't know everything. You can't be good at everything. And I really feel like that's true in this social media space. Like I can't pretend to know what the science is of X, Y, and Z when I interview a researcher and she or he clearly knows it better than I do and can explain it better. I like that. I like that there are people who are gifted, who have followed their passion, who have gone toward their goal in their own lives so that I can learn from them as well. And I think the podcast has taught me to stay in my lane and to be the best trainer and the best coach of menopausal women that I can be. And that is my goal moving forward as well. So if you've been on this journey with me, I thank you. And I thank you so much for trusting me. I am constantly in the comments. I'll share at the end of our workouts, I always share my musings, as it were. Sometimes I share things that are hard for me, that are challenging, maybe things that other people have said that have hurt my feelings. I just share these things. And so often I feel like my community just kind of rallies behind me, props me up, is there to say, keep going because we believe in you. Keep going towards that goal. Keep being who you were meant to be on this earth. And so to all of you, I say that right back at you. Keep going. Keep trying to be all that you were meant to be on this earth as well. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for supporting this podcast and thanks for supporting me in Move Daily Fitness. If you're a member, thank you for joining the membership, supporting us there. Or even if you've purchased a program or ever watched a video, ever listened to a podcast, it has meant the world to have this community rally around me. And of course, I couldn't do it alone. I have my team, Kim and Stratton, who have rallied beside me, helping me grow this company as well. So to them, I say a huge thank you also. Well, thank you for listening today. Go move daily now in your fitness, wellness, and nutrition. We'll see you all in the next Move Daily Talks.